मेरे परदादा जी के की जो कंपनी थी पृथ्वी थिएटर्स के जो उनकी कंपनी का जो लोगो था, वहां पे नीचे लिखा हुआ था कला देश की सेवा में। उस उसूल को मुझे लेके जाना है। जो रंगा बिल्ला की फांसी होती है उसमें बिल्ला जो चीखता चिल्लाता हुआ वो उसको घसीटते हुए लेके जाया करते हैं, मतलब लेके जाते हैं सब गार्ड्स। आई थिंक दैट सीन वाज वेरी tough to shoot. Having grown up in a home where art and culture was discussed in a very deep way, Shan, Diwar, Rajji's film. My mom told me lots of stories about Sholay, more than grandfather probably. मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा I think studious actor हूँ, तो I feel like I had to do a lot of homework and studies. I think Ranbir and Kareena are both very instinctive and very secure actors. बड़े मियाँ छोटे मियाँ 3 अगर बनेगी तो हम करेंगे. All the stories about Shah Rukh sir are the same and they're all true. One of his first television series he did was Circus. उसमें Makran Deshpande sir थे. He had spent some of his early days he had spent with my father because my father was a famous ad film director. 2009-10 की बात है when we started inviting the rest of the Kapoor Khandan, so to speak. Reema auntie and Dabu uncle and Chintu uncle, and they were always the loudest. Also was very fond and close to Shammi uncle, Shammi Dadaji. Spent lots of time chatting with him. He was he was much more chatty also.
Zahan Kapoor, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you for having me.
Zahan, you truly don't need an introduction. As the latest Kapoor to grace our screens and the grandson of legendary Shashi Kapoor, you have already delivered one of the finest performances of the year as Sunil Gupta in Netflix's Black Warrant. While you made your debut with Faraz in 2022, how would you like to describe the feeling of striking gold with Black Warrant after what it feels like a significant 3 year wait?
It honestly didn't feel like a 3 year wait since for us because I was since we shot for us in 2021. Um, After Faraz released in India in 2023 in Feb, and we had a BFI World Premiere screening in 22 October of 2022. 2022, I got little bit busy, and I did a short film, and then I worked on another web series, and then 2023 is when we started shooting Black Warrant, and then 2024 is when I got done with it, and then in between in 2023 I also did another play before we started Black Warrant. So um, between I think 2022 and 2023 were very busy years for me. And then 2024 slowed down a little bit in the second half, and now 2025 has started off on a big note, of course, and it's definitely been um, a shift, you can say, because before January of 2025, I think I was still feeling the frustration of not having had made any kind of significant impact even though Faraz had been very well received in critical circles, the and even on Netflix, it found a considerable audience. In fact, it trended number one. It hit some decent numbers internationally as well. Um, very proud of that film, but clearly it not uh, not something that pushed my career in a further direction, in a direction that maybe that I was hoping that it would. Um, and that has kind of happened with Black Warrant, you can say. I don't know striking gold or not. I really have no idea, but I do know that it's been a great blessing to have been a part of this one because it's a coming together of many things. It's not only a coming together of an incredible group of technicians and co-artists, actors, but it's also work and material that is based on um, some very unique perspectives and moments in our history as a country and as a national capital also. So Tihar jail and the criminal justice system, it's very unique. So it's a privilege to be a part of something that has such a freshness to it. And I think that's a big reason of why it's worked. So it's not really my fault.
But from the English-speaking world of Jew, you powerfully embraced a different reality in Black Warrant. How challenging was it to master Hindi and authenticity to portray that with middle class mannerism in Black Warrant?
Well, thankfully, I think it's been a long journey. The journey doesn't start with Black Warrant. The journey starts 10 years ago. It starts in 2000, more than that now, 2013, when I'm deciding to become an actor and I'm starting to train. So I am immersing myself in the world of theater and by extension, literature and um, all kinds of cultural and societal concerns and histories and interacting with people also from different parts of the country, mostly in the artistic and cultural space, but little by extension a few other disciplines. um, so thankfully my interest itself and my kind of dedication to wanting to hone these skills and even my language, just get better at it. I still think I have a long way to go, but um, I think it's all little bit, one step at a time, one brick at a time. And then Black Warrant comes along and it challenges you. And I think there were a lot of people who would not have thought that they could cast me in such a way, in such a role. So, huge credit and gratitude to Mukesh Chabra sir for um, pushing my name for this one, and putting it on Vikram sir's table, and then having the chance to audition, and then also then getting support. Like it's layers and layers and layers of support. So Vikas had come in involved, and he helped. He has his kind of a company that does a little bit of dialect coaching, and then he put me onto this coach called Amitoj, who helped me with the dialect, and we would sit every day for like 2 weeks. Um, and just practice. And I would practice, I would pick up things and I would write it down. I'm very studious like that, and made notations on my script and did whatever I could think of to try and get comfortable. And then to immerse yourself in that world of middle class 1980s Delhi, honestly, a lot of that support to do that, the support comes from costume, comes from art department, comes from your co-actors also, of course. So you create this world where I don't really have to think about it too much, but and then little bit of sensitivity and awareness of these greater things in life. Around the world is very very big.
I have many questions about your creative process, but I'm very curious to know
Ji sir.
what was your first reaction, or perhaps your reaction and your family reaction, when you were compared with Shashi Kapoor ji? It's a scene from Diwar where Shashi ji was dressed in he was playing a police inspector, and so were you in Black Warrant. What was everyone has to say at home?
I don't think at home they care about this comparison too much. I think they feel like ठीक है वो तो ठीक है होगा ही. Um, but I think my family was very proud of the work I did. I think they were very pleased to see a series like this. I think they were all very, very not just proud of the work. I know, like, I think my parents, my sister, they really loved the show. So that's the thing. It's not just about कि चलो बेटा तुमने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, तुम्हारा काम अच्छा है, लेकिन शो तो कहानी तो लेकिन ठीक है, कुछ तो छूट रही है, कुछ तो मतलब अधूरी रह गई है, कुछ बातें या जो भी है। तो इन दैट सिचुएशन की सारे घर वाले बोल रहे हैं कि काम तो ठीक है लेकिन क्या कमाल का शो है, क्या कमाल की कहानी है, क्या सब लोग कितने अच्छे हैं। सो दैट इज सो नाइस, इट्स नॉट जस्ट वन सिंपल कंपैरिजन, तुलने की बात ही नहीं। इसमें वो है कि genuine satisfaction is there across the board. So how, and it's so gratifying, it's with such joy I feel that I'm able to share the work I have done. And मतलब जब हम जैसे खाना परोसने की बात करेंगे ना हम, कि पेट भर खाना खाए आप, यही इच्छा है मेरी ना। तो मेरी इच्छा पूरी हुई ऐसे।
Now, like you said, you of course have a theater background.
जी
What was it like, or perhaps how nervous were you to face the camera for the very first time in Faraz?
सर, आई वाज नॉट नर्वस टू फेस द कैमरा इन दैट वे, बिकॉज मैं तो 16 साल की उम्र से मैं प्रोडक्शन में काम कर रहा हूँ। मैंने बहुत असिस्टिंग किया है, मैं असिस्टिंग की है, मैंने खुद डायरेक्शन भी किया है कुछ शॉर्ट शॉर्ट वीडियोस में, म्यूजिक वीडियोस ये वो। तो कैमरा और सेट पे होने से मैं कतराता नहीं था। मुझे पता था कि इस डिपार्टमेंट का काम है ये वो, तो वो मेरे लिए एक्चुअली सेफ स्पेस सा फील होता है। लेकिन हाँ, फराज में पहली बार मैं एक किरदार को निभा रहा हूँ, पहली बार ये काम कर रहा हूँ प्रोफेशनली इस लेवल पे। पहली बार, इससे पहले मैंने स्टेज पे काम किया था, एक नाटक ओपन हुआ था, उसके बाद से मैं पहली बार ये कर रहा हूँ। तो वो नर्वसनेस ऑफ डूइंग दिस, प्लेइंग दिस कैरेक्टर, बीइंग इन्वॉल्व्ड इन दिस स्टोरी, सर्विंग दिस स्टोरी, इस कहानी और इस किरदार की सेवा करने की जो एक घबराहट होती है वो थी। बाकी एज अ स्किल जनरल, मतलब कि कैमरा है वो, उससे ज्यादा तो इट वाज डिफरेंट। मतलब नर्वसनेस जरूर है या था, बट इन अ वेरी डिफरेंट वे, क्योंकि वो उसकी जो जिम्मेदारी है किरदार की और कहानी की जो मांग है उसके हिसाब से उसको पूरा करने की जो एक चिंता होती है वो।
So then, was there ever a moment during the shoot of Faraz or Black Warrant where you instinctively responded like a stage actor?
आई डोंट थिंक दिस मच ऑफ अ डिफरेंस सर। देयर इज नो सच थिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू मी कि एज अ स्टेज एक्टर एंड एज अ फिल्म एक्टर हम वही काम कर रहे हैं। हम उस सीन में अपने आप को ट्रूथफुली डालने की कोशिश करते हैं, हम उस सिचुएशन में ट्रूथफुली रिएक्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं उन परिस्थितियों के संबंध में। तो ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर फ्यू टेक्निकल डिफरेंसेस, लेकिन वो इतना ऑटोमेटेड सा हो जाता है, एक बार आप समझ लेते हो ना कि ओके, ऑन स्टेज आई नो दैट द एनर्जी रिक्वायर्ड ऑफ द परफॉर्मेंस ओवरऑल इज ऑफ अ सर्टेन डिग्री। एक मेरा जो एक टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट्स है, एंड सिमिलरली कैमरा में अगर क्लोजअप है, अगर मार्क को देख के मुझे डायलॉग देना है, तो वो एक सस्पेंशन ऑफ डिसबिलीफ जरूरी है कि आप दूसरा एक्टर के क्यूज आ रहे हैं और यू आर जस्ट रिएक्टिंग टू अ क्रॉस ऑन द मैट बॉक्स, तो आपको इमेजिन करना है। बट वी डू दैट इन थिएटर ऑल्सो, जब हम रिहर्सल रूम में होते हैं तो ना सेट होता है ना कुछ होता है, हम लोग लाइंस कर रहे हैं, हम प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, आप दीवार को देख के ही आप बोल रहे हो, आप इमेजिन कर रहे हो। तो आपका काम एक्चुअली सेम है, थोड़ा बस समझना है कि इस मोमेंट में किस चीज की जरूरत है, वो सेंसिटिविटी होनी चाहिए।
Because often in theater you have in and out, like you have an entry and you have an exit. It's a non-stop performance.
यस,
Where when you're shooting for a film or a series, then sometimes director perhaps will ask you कि जहान इसको 20% fast कर दो या
हाँ, शुक्र है कि ऐसा डायरेक्शन तो मुझे कम मिला है कि 20% या 50% या जो भी है। लेकिन हाँ, सी, डायरेक्शन दोनों जगह वही है ना कि आप एंट्री एग्जिट ले रहे हो। यस, टेक्निकली आपको वो सीन हम बार बार अलग अलग टेक्स करते हैं, अलग अलग एंगल्स करते हैं, और एक दिन में हम 3-4 सीन्स करेंगे। थिएटर में हम धीरे 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 करते 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 हम आदत बना देते हैं कि हम एक पूरी कहानी एक बारी में हम खत्म कर दें। So there is differences in the approach and the intention. The intention of a play is to be able to perform the play from start to finish. The intention of a feature film is to capture the scene and the requirements of all technical aspects and do it in such a way that every time you do a take, it is still fresh and spontaneous. लेकिन we still know that कि यही होना है। तो वो जो एक paradoxical line है, to know exactly what you're doing and yet surprise yourself, I think that is the fun, and that is true for theater and for film. Theater में I'm doing now the 30 something show of one play, जो सियाचन है मेरा नाटक का नाम, which we opened in just before Black Warrant की बात शुरू हुई थी मेरे लिए, 2 साल पहले की बात है। um, I've done it more than 30 times shows and then count rehearsals, count तो मतलब 60-80 बार तो हमने नाटक किए होंगे ना. So the same play, the same lines, the same moments, but every time to discover it again and again and again.
So then, from Black Warrant, which scene truly shook you as an actor? Perhaps the one was so impactful that you have struggled to rewatch it.
I struggle to rewatch तो नहीं, लेकिन मुझे याद है कि जब हम कर रहे थे, in episode 2 जो रंगा बिल्ला की फांसी होती है उसमें बिल्ला जो चीखता चिल्लाता हुआ वो उसको घसीटते हुए लेके जाया करते हैं, मतलब लेके जाते हैं सब गार्ड्स. um I think that scene was very tough to shoot. I think it was very heavy and it was intense to even just witness. And Ramneesh Chaudhary जो एक्टर है जिन्होंने बिल्ला का किरदार निभाया, um, he gave such a chilling performance. He was, and bar, take पे take, and he just really was pushed himself to feel that fear, to feel that resistance, and to cry and scream and not want to be taken to his last stand, to his death, to and it was very intense.
I have many questions about your process, but Zahan, you come from a remarkable film legacy. On paternal side, the iconic cinema of Shashi Kapoor, and on the maternal side, classic like Sholay, Shah, being the
Yes,
grandson of Ramesh Sippy.
yes.
What kind of stories and cinematic influences did you grow up surrounded by?
Oh, lots. I think that is the real blessing. The blessing is having grown up in a home where art and culture was valued highly, where art and culture was discussed in a very um, rich and deep way. As in, it wasn't just the commerce of it, it wasn't just the success, the fame of it, but it was the approach of it. It was the qualitative understanding of what made this piece of art important, what made this piece of art surprising, what was that person's approach. Look at the craft, look at the dedication, look at the coming together of all of these different ingredients. So, and across disciplines, it can be related to music, it can be related to fine arts, it can be related to all kinds of performing arts. So, and of course, then stories, little bit stories of film. But I'll be honest, very few stories of the past, mostly all contemporary. So, the environment that I was brought up in was not very nostalgic. There was not conversations about the old days, the golden days. ऐसी बातें नहीं होती. It was कि आज क्या चल रहा है, आज ये नाटक देखा, अच्छा नहीं लगा, क्यों अच्छा नहीं लगा, ये वो फला फला, आज हमने एक पिक्चर देखी, बहुत अच्छी लगी, क्यों अच्छी लगी, ये वो.
Which film generally you have discussed a lot with your mother, with your grandfather? Is there a film particularly that you perhaps made a big impact on you?
बिग इम्पैक्ट तो बहुत सारे हैं ना. आई मीन एंड डिफरेंट स्टेजेस इन लाइफ. As a kid, the big impact film for me was like Kaho Na Pyar Hai, was Lagan, was Dil Chahta Hai. These are films that I love as a kid. Um, Badshah, Josh. These are films that I remember watching when I grew up. Mela, I remember. Like these are, मतलब cinema में जाके, Amir sir, Shah Rukh sir's films, Saif's films, कुछ films like that. Like these are the early films that I remember. Then growing up then watching some of these old classics also. Then Sholay, later as a teenager I saw it. Shan, Diwar, these films I saw much later. Rajji's films I saw much later in life. 19 साल का था तब शायद, like and then contemporary films जो तब चल रहे थे, watching Rockstar. I remember watching Rockstar twice in the same day. मैंने दोबारा फिल्म देखी एक ही दिन में. um, watching films like Three Idiots, watching films like um, Sultan also, or Ek Tha Tiger, or Chandan Cinema mein jaake. These are influences, and then and often going to see a film with dad, मतलब and with the family sometimes. I mean immediate family. um या दोस्तों के साथ. So these are, और फिर बाद में डिनर पे हम बातचीत करते हैं उसके बारे में.
Sholay is completing 50 years this
Yes,
in few months from now, like in a month from now.
yes.
Do you have a favorite Sholay story that your grandfather told you or your mother told you?
My mom told me lots of stories about Sholay, more than grandfather probably. My mother, like they were all kids on the sets of Sholay, and my mother and my Masi would dress up like um, Jay and Viru, and they would bully my Mamu Rohan and make him dance like Basant. And like ये लोग ये मस्ती कर रहे होते हैं, मतलब करते थे सेट पे. बच्चे ऐसे मस्ती कर रहे होते हैं जब बड़े काम कर रहे होते हैं. तो वो ऐसे किस्से हैं. But how they shot it, what they did, I mean, there's so many stories like this, and it's a legendary film. मतलब it's iconic to, I mean, to no degree. And छोटे छोटे कैरेक्टर्स भी, सुरमा भोपाली से लेके सांभा, these characters, how they leave an impact on you, small characters. But then every scene in which how you realize the friendship of Jay and Viru, Gabbar's entry, Gabbar's menace, Gabbar's just look with his eyes and how he would play, and again Amjad Khan Saab's just sheer command of his craft and language, and um, it's too much. There's too much. I cannot pick. I'm so sorry.
Then, talking about your dad, how has your father, Kunal Kapoor, influenced your approach to storytelling or performance? Like, what principal insights did he share?
He's been the biggest influence when it comes to these things. So his attention to detail, his knowledge of cinematic craft, his understanding of even performances and what is a good performer. And he would always point and say, look at them, look at how he speaks, look at how he moves, look at how he holds the frame, look at cinema, look at the story, look at the power, look at music, look at aesthetics, design, everything. I mean, like, he has been the biggest influence in my whole life and has informed everything, and then encouraged me to build a web. And then I've gone out and I have also added. I have brought in other influences and I have studied other areas of art and culture and society, and
And mummies, mothers?
mother also, very huge influence. Mother also, both creative people, both. So mother, very very artistic herself, very multidisciplinary in that way. My father has a very fine eye, but I think my mother actually has much more aptitude in terms of doing things herself. Like, she would do different things, photography to design and learning softwares and then playing around, and then mixed media. She would paint on her photographs and add sequences, and फेविकॉल के साथ चिपका चिपका के थ्री डायमेंशनल उनको बना देती थी. And just yeah, just very creative, very independent that way. Has the capacity to do what she needs to do apne khud se. And growing up, so encouraged by both of them. I've also always been creative in that sense. I think drawing बहुत पसंद करता हूँ. लेगोस के साथ खेलता था बहुत, तो वो उसमें भी, और बिना ऐसा इंस्ट्रक्शंस देख के जस्ट लेगोस को कैसे जोड़ते हैं हम, कैसे कुछ भी बना दे और उसके ऊपर कुछ कहानी बनाऊं मैं. ये गाड़ी बनाई मैंने, बिल्डिंग बनाई मैंने, कुछ तो अजीबोगरीब चीजें बना रहा हूँ. um, that encouragement to just play, to be playful, to be creative, and to experiment and to work and play with people, um, and to seek out people who know things. I think all of this has come from my parents.
Nice. Zahan, with your cousin Ranbir and Kareena Kapoor, both are so established in the industry. Have you had any significant conversation about the craft or about the industry with them recently?
Yeah, I mean, when we meet, invariably you talk about how's work, what's happening, ये वो, अच्छा बुरा, up down, कैसा चल रहा है, समझ नहीं आ रहा है, अच्छा चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए. It's those kinds of things. craft के हिसाब से not so much, to be honest. I think slightly different approaches. um, मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा I think studious and insecure सा actor हूँ, तो I feel like I had to do a lot of homework and studies. I think Ranbir and Kareena are both very instinctive and very secure actors. उनको पता है कि उनको मतलब काफी आत्मविश्वास है ही, शायद बचपन से भगवान का देन है, क्या है, भगवान की कृपा है. um but we have a lovely warm relationship, and yeah, it's just they are in a different league right now, उनका experience and positioning. तो I, from my side, it's always कि मैं पूछता हूँ. I ask, I say, how is it going? Is it exciting? What are you looking at? Oh, is that fun? Oh, are you enjoying working with this director? तो मैं सवाल करता हूँ सीखने के लिए ज्यादा.
What did you think of? Did you watch Animal? And
I think amazing. I mean, what a performance. मुझे समझ में आई कि बात की क्यों इतना ये कनेक्ट क्यों कर पा रहे. वो रस जो है इसका, वो बहुत ऑथेंटिक है. और उसमें इन of course Ranbir's performance is so intense that you immediately kind of are invested in the world and you want to find out कि what is going on. ऐसा थोड़ी ना हो सकता है, पागल है क्या, नहीं नहीं हो तो रहा है, ठीक है देखते हैं. So it's a real ride like that, and it's very very intense. So
so
yeah,
then, with your love for cinema and Ranbir Kapoor's powerhouse performances, when can we expect to see you two Kapoor brothers on screen? We are manifesting it today.
I hope so. Wow, what a, let's see. I hope so. एक ना एक दिन आएगा.
Any plan, any discussion? Are we getting offers perhaps by filmmakers? Are they imagining both of you?
फिलहाल तो कुछ नहीं. एक तो शायद बड़े मियाँ छोटे मियाँ 3 अगर बनेगी तो हम करेंगे.
But how has your life changed following the immense success and critical acclaim of Black Warrant?
I am having to learn how to make space in my life for so much love, and it's a beautiful journey.
So then, what was your experience like shooting with Shah Rukh Khan for Thumbs Up ad?
Oh, it was so amazing. He is such a like delight and inspiration, and just I was so amazed at how dedicated he was, even for an ad film. It was not easy to do. It was, we were wet, and there's wind and water, and it's lights, bright lights, and it's difficult and tiring. But he was so dedicated. He was still such a student of the craft, at service, of the director. And so generous in his demeanor, the way he would make you feel comfortable. All the stories about Shahrukh sir are the same, and they're all true. And um, I'm just so happy I got a chance. It was really very, very special.
Now, considering his
Very,
own
very.
formidable
Yeah.
theatre background, did two of you perhaps discuss the craft, or did he share any thoughts about your performance in Black Warren?
He had not seen Black Warrant. हमने जब shooting की थी तो तब it was much before the release of Black Warrant. Ad तो बाद में आया, but हमने shoot पहले कर ली थी. Um, we didn't speak about anything, honestly. मेरी हिम्मत नहीं हुई कुछ और पूछने के लिए. I just did my job on the day and just tried to little bit, and he just gave his love and regards. And that was it. And I don't know if he's seen Black Warrant. I don't know.
But he also has a theatre background, so as you. So, what did you
There
discuss?
was one or two connections because he knows one of his first television series he did was Circus. उसमें मकरंद देशपांडे सर हैं थे, and Max sir was someone who I worked with my plays, and I'm very close to him. And तो कुछ कुछ बातें हुई थी like that, कि उन दिनों की बातें and how he did and how he started and ये वो, and फिर फौजी Circus धीरे धीरे. Then he had fond memories. He had spent some of his early days he had spent with my mother. And she had been kind of sweet to him around that time. And he knew of my father because my father was a famous ad film director. So in the starting of his career. So he was just sharing those kinds of stories. Very, very sweet.
Now we all know about the famous Christmas lunch, a beautiful tradition hosted by your family, bringing together the entire Kapoor clan. What were those gatherings like? I mean, food, film, or different conversations?
Yes, exactly. Food, film, and conversations around both. And just a joyous, loud, um, hectic.
Who was the loudest then?
Everyone is in competition with each other, but I think the loudest ones are always Rima auntie and Dabu uncle and Chintu uncle, and they were always the loudest ones.
But how the tradition started? Like,
My grandmother, my Dadi ji, we celebrate Christmas is our personal thing because Dadi ji being British, we always celebrated Christmas in our house. So my dad and his siblings, they grew up celebrating Christmas, and then I grew up celebrating Christmas, me and my sister. एंड फिर आई थिंक पता नहीं कब 2009-10 की बात है व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड इनवाइटिंग द रेस्ट ऑफ द कपूर खानदान सो टू स्पीक हम लोग बचपन से करते थे एंड एट होम एंड व्हेन वी ग्रू अप आई ग्रू अप इन टाउन in Nepean Road. Dabu uncle used to come. Dabu uncle used to be over for Christmas often, but the rest of the family not really. So it became a greater Kapoor Khandan tradition only I think around 2010. तब से सब लोग आ रहे हैं and it was just a way that we realized that it was one okay way where we try and get the whole family together तब भी कभी नहीं होता है कि सब लोग हैं एक साथ but yeah just one of those things.
and now Tamur and Jay also like they're growing up.
Yes, everyone so Christmas was and that's something that we hosted in our house. So yeah, it was just one of the things that we did. Now let's see going forward.
You know, we all love your grandfather Shashi Kapoor and Shammi Kapoor ji too. What are your memories of talking to Shashi ji about cinema and life?
I actually, unfortunately, don't have many memories talking to my grandfather about film and theater. Um, I think um, by the time I had gotten interested and more involved, he was already having issues with his health, and so it was not a relationship that we shared. I have lots of memories of him being my Dadaji as a kid, and lots of fond, loving memories of playing with him, memories of eating meals, of watching TV shows and films, and going on trips sometimes also, small trips here and there. So those kinds of memories. Also was very fond and close to Shami uncle, Shami Dadaji. Spent lots of time chatting with him. He was he was much more chatty also, much more talkative. Would talk to me about sports and about music, and was a big computer fan. Of course, he's a big tech nerd, so things like that also. And we would go often over, share meals together. Also, lots of food,
Chinese food?
lots of Chinese food, lots of all kinds of food. So I have a story with both of them. In fact, when I don't know how old I was, but I think I would have been maybe like 13, 14, not older. Um, and we have some family friends who are restaurant owners of a restaurant called Indigo and in town. And they would give me a birthday gift voucher. They said I could go and take a friend and have a free meal at the restaurant. And this one year, I asked for a gift voucher. I said instead of just for like two people, I wanted it for six. And I said because I want to take my family and I want to take both my dadajis who are alive. So Dadaji and Shami Dadaji also. So I took both of them as my treat to share a meal with me. And I took my father and mother and sister also, and so we all went. But we and Shami Dadaji was also a big fan of oysters, and I also love oysters. And we, I think, ordered some 4, 5 dozen oysters, and all of us just had a lovely, excessive meal that afternoon. And I was very, very proud because I took them out for lunch. It was my treat.
Ah, sweet. You know,
Yeah.
you so then you always wanted to be an actor, like you wanted to pursue acting as a career?
Not really. I think it was I was much later that wanted to act, but I was always interested in cinema and storytelling. I think around the age of 14, I was made up my mind that I have to be involved in cinema in some way. But I thought first I was going to be purely as a director or a filmmaker, basically. And then around the age of 20 um, is when I discovered that I actually also am interested in performing, and maybe I can learn, and maybe I can give this a shot. Maybe I'll get an opportunity, but maybe I'll find it. And the kinds of movies that were being made, more and more interesting films, were being made, and I was getting more and more excited about, hey, maybe I can actually do this. So
Yeah, this segment I love that we do. It's called The Turning Point. Uh, is there a film that has profoundly changed your life? One you can watch over and over again and finding something new each time you watch it.
I think the film which is very close to my heart, which I'm very fond of, is a film called Princess Mononoke. It's a Studio Ghibli film. It's a Miyazaki film. And that film I remember seeing at the age I was, I think, 10 years old or something. And randomly I just discovered it. And that film has left a profound impact on me. So I think that film is maybe the film.
What that film is about? Can you tell a little?
It's a anime movie. It's a Japanese animation film. And it's about lots of things. It's about um there's like supernatural elements. It's about progress. It's about greed. It's about love. It's about um, technology, and and I mean, there's lots of things. You must see the film. It's Studio Ghibli. Hayao Miyazaki. I mean, Ghibli is uh, incredible. Like it's more than just one thing, and that's the power of story. And it was made in a different land, in a different language, and I still fell in love with it completely. There are ways in which the music of that film comes together. There are ways in which the character and I thought I was that character. Or like wanted to be that character. And there is a way that other character that this character falls in love with, even I am falling in love with. And like how immersed you feel in a world. And then the lore and what's at stake and the other people and how they wrestle with one another to get what they want, the style, the aesthetic style, the fantasy of it all of these things have a profound impact on me and a profound resonance. So, and then discovering them here, like for me, the stories here are like I mean, again, there's films, there's stories. I remember growing up, listening and hearing the Mahabharata and the Ramayana for the first time as a child. In a different version, of course, बच्चों के लिए जो versions होते हैं, but then discovering them more and more as I grow up. Watching Sholay for the first time, blowing my mind. Watching Avara for the first time. These are films that leave an impact.
Did you ask your father why he did not pursue acting as a career?
Yeah, and he's very vocal about it. He didn't enjoy it as much at the time. The kinds of movies that were being made, the kinds of roles that he was being offered, I don't think he was having a good time. He was not enjoying himself. And
Even your other uncle as well.
yeah, he did two films, but just maybe not in tune, maybe not wanting different things at the time. And my father got more and more interested in filmmaking also, and then had more fun being a director.
Which is a grandfather film that you like the most?
So recently we saw a film, like there was a screening organized of New Delhi Times. And New Delhi Times, have you seen New Delhi Times?
Yes.
So New Delhi Times was made, I think, in '86.
It's about a newspaper.
And yes, and about a newspaper editor. And it's a very interesting film. It's still very relevant, I think. A lot of the themes discussed about journalistic integrity, about freedom, about of the press, about it's also told like a detective story in a sense of it's journalism that has that kind of flavor of discovering something, unearthing a mystery. And it has two mainstream actors in it. It has Shashi Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore, and at a time in the mid '80s when they are doing mainstream movies. And I think it was so interesting that there were actors like this, and they were. You see, it tells you also about their worldview, their values. Even Sharmila ji. So it tells you that they have the ability to also choose projects like this, even while their commercial career is also going.
Do you see yourself returning to theatre in future?
I am doing theater next month. I have returned to theater. Will continue to do theater. Is the hope that I will not leave theater. It's not that I will never need to return.
We want you in cinema and doing movies and series.
I will do all of it.
Where do you see Zahan in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself going?
I hope I will be able to build a certain network and repertory of people who will benefit from my involvement, I hope, and see value in my involvement in their work. So whether someone is wanting to tell a movie, make a movie for the silver screen, and whether someone is wanting to make a play, or whether someone is wanting to explore something wholly different, maybe. Um, I hope that I can continue to be involved in all sorts of creative pursuits. मेरे पर्दा आदिल जी के की जो कंपनी थी पृथ्वी थिएटर्स के जो उनकी कंपनी का जो लोगो था वहां पे नीचे लिखा हुआ था कला देश की सेवा में एंड आई रियली लव दैट आइडिया एंड आई थिंक उस उसूल को मुझे लेके जाना है कि कला देश की सेवा में हो आई होप आई गेट टू वर्क विद सम incredible filmmakers who I admire and work alongside other actors also, who can challenge me and I would like to grow. So I hope 5 years from now I have grown and I have continued to associate with dedicated, passionate, honest people. And I hope that by me being involved, they feel uh, a value add. And I hope I can continue to empower and encourage people to also kind of continue this journey.
I hope you do many more films, many
Yes,
more films.
yes.
Are there filmmakers that are past? Which are the filmmakers that are part of your wish list? The one you really want to work with?
I would love to work with Zoya. I would love to work with Raju Hirani sir. I would love to work with Suresh Triveni. I would love to work with Imtiaz Ali sir. I would love to work with Vidhu Vinod Chopra sir. I would love to work with Adi Chopra sir. I would love to work with do a big Kabir Khan sir film, do something small and intimate. I would love to work with Kunal Khemu as a director. I would love to work with, like there are so many, Sanjay Bansali sir for his scale. I would love to work with Varun Grover. I would love to work with Meghna Gulzar ma'am. I would love to. I mean, I just keep saying names. You just keep going. There's so many. कितने लोग हैं और नए लोग. Karan Tejpal who just made Stolen. Like what a beautiful film. I want to work with him. Um, कितने लोग हैं. But hopefully we will have an opportunity to find a story that makes sense for us to work together, whoever it is.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about acting and for taking time out and talking to me.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
looking forward to many more memorable performances from you. Thank you again and all the best.
Thank you so much, Vishal. So thank you for your love, your interest, and your support. And I hope I can also get more and more opportunities to keep doing this and keep satisfying you and the rest of the audience.